All right. Hello and welcome to the eighth podcast of Run Good Lifestyle. And we are very fortunate today to have with us Dr. Janice Jackson, naturopathic medical doctor. And Janice, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
So I've been working with Janice probably 4 or 5 years now, and she's helped me with numerous things. But today we're just going to talk a little bit about what you do, how you got started, and just a little brief background, if you would, please.
All right. Well, I will try to be as brief about that as possible, but the story is probably quite long. Um, uh, Let me speak a little bit about naturopathic medicine in general. Naturopathic medicine is frequently categorized as an alternative medicine, but many of the practices in naturopathic medicine are actually quite conventional. The main difference lies in the approach. NDs primarily focus on treating the underlying causes of illness and disease rather than treating just the symptoms.
Now,
It's a whole
can I ask you a
person.
question, Janice?
Surely.
Does that fall in the same lines as like a functional medical doctor?
Functional medicine um, is is relatively new on the scene relative to naturopathy, but we do a lot of the same things. Um, the way that I see the difference between functional medicine and naturopathic medicine is that naturopathic medicine has been practiced since the turn of the last century. The functional medicine um, appears to have evolved from the need to have a more whole person approach to conventional medical practice, and and that's something that has really evolved over the last 10 years or so.
Okay.
Naturopaths have been practicing this way for long periods of time. There are also a lot of techniques in naturopathic medicine that are not used in functional medicine.
Okay. Glad you cleared that up because I know I've been asked that question a few times. The difference between I know that the functional medicine people are new to the scene, but it seems like there's more of a movement away from conventional into the both what you're doing and the functional medicine.
I think that's accurate. It's more of a movement away from conventional medicine, and it's frequently practiced by practitioners of conventional medicine, which would be MDs.
Right. Right.
And it's usually a fairly short course of study. Naturopathy is a 4-year medical degree. Um, Functional medicine is usually a bit of an add on to an MD practice.
Yeah, I
If
see
that
those
makes sense.
online, which always concerns me. Get your functional medical um, degree or whatever it is, and like when I see those kind of things, it always throws red flags.
Yeah, yeah. I'll talk a little bit about uh, the medical school in a moment, but I thought I would just give you an idea of some of the differences between natural medicine as opposed to conventional medicine. It's it's really a whole person approach to prevention and diagnosis and the treatment of health conditions. Um, the formal definition is that naturopathic medicine is a distinct primary healthcare profession emphasizing prevention, treatment, and optimum health through the use of therapeutic methods and substances that encourage individuals' inherent self-healing properties. That's a big part of naturopathy, is
Okay.
encouraging the body to heal itself. And that definition was established by the American Association of Naturopathic Physicians. Um, all naturopathic physicians are guided by 6 principles.
Okay.
And the first of those is to first do no harm. NDs will focus on minimally invasive care. Less is quite often more in naturopathic medicine.
Yes, you've taught me that.
I'm sorry?
You have taught me that.
Yes.
One thing.
The second principle is the healing power of nature. And that principle focuses on removing the obstacles to cure. Obstacles like fast food, alcohol, sedentary lifestyle, so that you can set the stage for your body to heal. That
So important.
is a big part of naturopathic medicine, is trying to determine the cause and treat the root
Right.
of the condition. It's important to identify in order to treat the cause, which we do through a variety of testing methods that are usually not part of a conventional medical practice.
Right. Can we talk a little bit about that, because I know that you and I have talked at length about what steps I took, and I know that was way different than any medical doctor that I've been to.
The first thing that we do, the part of naturopathic medicine that would be similar to conventional medicine is that we do an extensive health history. We spend a lot of time working with our patients to determine what their primary concerns are with regard to their health. And methods that we use to do our diagnostics are a set of testing that isn't usually done in conventional medicine. For example, we can evaluate nutritional status. We can take a look at any possible allergies that might be contributing to a condition. We can, again, try to remove the obstacles to cure. But testing is a big part of it. And to do this, we will frequently do blood testing, urine testing, stool testing, saliva testing, depending on whether we're looking at hormones or if we're looking at gut health and the microbiome. We use blood testing to determine nutritional analysis. It can be as extensive or as minimal as the patient would like for it to be.
Yeah, I have been through that process, and uh, a lot of the questions that I receive after I've told them I've done this, they're like, "What's the next step?" So after we get all this information, and you find out any allergies or any deficiencies you have in vitamins and stuff, what's the next step from your standpoint?
The next step is to sit down with the patient and find out what they are willing to do and the changes they are willing to make in their path. If they are willing to take supplements for nutritional deficiencies, if they're willing to add exercise to their plan, if they're willing to um, increase the amount of sleep, if they have sleep deficits. It's a very individualized program depending on the patient and their
Right, right.
particular needs.
That brings me to another question I get a lot is, when you're deficient in these vitamins and these minerals and Everybody says, well, let's change your diet. And from my standpoint, and I want to get your viewpoint that, our the nutritional value from even our whole foods uh, aren't what they used to be. And I feel like the need for additional supplements, regardless if you're eating the right way or not, is still needed. I'd like to get your opinion on that.
I would agree with that. Our foods, in many cases, in many ways, are really depleted of nutrients even before they make the long trip to the grocery store. Um, if it were possible to help a patient without having to use any supplements, we would certainly do that. But in many cases, there are genetic conditions within a patient. For example, MTHFR is a familiar one to many people, where you have a very high need for particular B complex vitamins. That would be virtually impossible to take care of with food alone.
Right.
And yet it's quite easily resolved using supplements.
Right.
So, um, while it would be really great to think that we could just eat all of the right foods and have a healthy, nutritious diet that would enable us to counter the effects of aging and disease, it's just not always possible.
Yeah.
Um, and when you add to that the fact that we have such, in many cases, frantic lifestyles, and we're eating in restaurants a lot, we really have no way of knowing the nutrition content of the foods that we're getting when we have a restaurant meal. We don't know how many times something has been microwaved or warmed. We don't know about the process. It's very difficult to get organic foods in a restaurant. So, given our lifestyles, we frequently have to compensate for that with
Right.
supplements.
And I can't agree more. And I've been trying myself to move towards more organic foods, and for people that are interested in changing their diet to a more, I guess, whole food diet, and those organic type vegetables, do you feel like places like Whole Food, Trader Jack's, are those places reliable for a source for those types of foods?
I believe that if a product is labeled as being organic in a store like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, or um, a big one in this part of the country, which is Arizona, is Natural Grocer, I think that you can feel confident that you're getting an organic food. And I think that's critically important.
Yeah, I
There
agree.
we're just now beginning to discover all of the diseases that seem to arise from the use of pesticides, from exposure to pesticides in your home or work environment. Um, th- it's easy to see some of the issues that have developed around the use of pesticides, in, for example, Parkinson's disease. That is a body of research right now where they are really finding that pesticides contribute in a significant way to Parkinson's disease.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. We could. I would love to talk. Have a whole podcast on just foods and pesticides and that, because I'm just, the more research I've done, the more appalled I am to how we are being just led down a horrific path with the foods that our government has allowed us to feel safe in eating. And I know that I love fish, and I love a lot of things that I have to really watch the amounts that I eat, not because that one piece of fish is has not enough mercury to harm me. It's the cumulative effect of that mercury, and I think that that is the same thing we have with a lot of the foods that our government has approved as being, not harmful. Maybe it's not harmful to eat one time, but eating it the over the course of 30, 40 years, those things build up.
And truthfully, it doesn't take 30 to 40 years. The I'm frequently amazed at the number of patients that I have that show up with mercury in their system. Um, just being a fairly casual fish consumer, maybe twice a week they're eating fish. Um, Depending on the type of fish, tuna fish, for example, is a very large fish that over its lifetime is going to accumulate a lot of mercury. Um, so you're absolutely right that that that's something that we see quite frequently in
So,
testing, high levels of mercury.
just from my own curiosity point of view, is it the larger the fish, the more mercury you feel is
It
in the
tends
system?
to be the fish that you're going to see that tend to be the highest in mercury are the largest fish.
Okay.
Albacore tuna, for example. Swordfish is another one. Orange roughy tends to be high mercury. Um, there are a lot of good sites online that will give you that information with regard to which fish are best. Um, when it comes to tuna, that's something that even if you're not a big fish consumer with regard to fresh fish, a lot of people will still eat tuna fish, and um, you're always better off getting the smaller tuna, which is the skipjack
Oh,
tuna,
okay.
as opposed to the albacore.
Okay. That's good to know. I didn't realize that, honestly, and I've tried to do some due diligence in that department. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, Moving forward on, we talked about the whole foods. Now, the sedentary lifestyle. I know that all these things by themselves, obviously, um, you know, maybe not be an issue, but when you combine all these things that you're talking about, that you look at, the sedentary, which one, in my opinion, I thought not moving really and at my age, I feel that more than when I was younger. But if I don't keep myself moving, then I feel things go downhill quickly.
That is absolutely correct. We're designed to move, and we have to keep moving, uh, even even if it's just moderate amount. Walking is actually a very good exercise,
Mhm.
uh, but any sports that you engage in, um, anything that you do on a daily basis to keep your muscles moving, um, contributes substantially to your quality of life. And I think that it's very easy, since we have everything in our homes at our fingertips now, to sit on the couch and wait for things to come to us. But it's really important to get out there and uh, get out in the fresh air and walk and get exercise.
Right. So, I've talked to you a little bit about my routines, and I'm big on uh, starting my day out with routine. Getting hydration is my number one thing in the morning. Hydration and the exercise, moving and sunlight. Just getting out in the sunlight for 15 minutes. The early sunlight, I think, is like the most important sunlight you can take in for yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
I would agree with you. That is when we shut off the melatonin that would ordinarily be released from the pineal gland when you see bright light in the morning. The uh, melatonin is the substance that can make us feel sleepy, and it begins to be secreted when you're in low light. But in the morning, that's when our our cortisol levels should be highest, when our adrenal hormones are kicking in, and that's the time that we really should be resetting the pineal gland by getting exposure to bright light.
I couldn't agree more. So I this podcast or this um, channel that I have on YouTube is started out being geared to the people that travel and like myself and play poker, or even I've ran across people that just contact me about traveling because they travel for work, and sleep is a big issue for the poker community. You know, some days we'll play in poker tournaments. We could be out of a tournament in 15 minutes, but on the flip side, if we run deep in these tournaments, we could play 14, 15 hours and not be able to get our routine sleep, like go to bed when it gets dark, or wake up when it gets light. Some days we're playing till 3 in the morning, and we have to still somehow figure out how to get that 7, 8 hours of sleep to be at our optimum point. Do you have any? I don't want to say biohacks because that's that's not what you do. But do you have any comments or thoughts on that?
Well, given that, you're right that is a challenge. That's a real difficulty. But um, for long periods of time, humankind has slept in two stages instead of one. Um, it's not unusual through human history to find that there have been periods of time where we really did our sleeping in two separate events, um,
Hmm.
and so that is something to be considered, because I think you are correct in that for the most part we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, and if that's in two segments instead of one, that is still better than not getting the sleep.
That's interesting. I've never looked at that angle. Can you give me some more details on how that might
Well,
work?
to give you an example, um, as we get older, many people tend to waken at 3 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
or 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's very difficult for them to get back to sleep. Well, that it may be that if that's gone on for a prolonged period of time, that it's useful to accept that and use that hour that you find yourself awake to do something interesting to you, like read or um, uh, engage in some sort of activity that doesn't require a lot of movement, uh, and then go back to sleep and sleep another 4 to 5 hours.
Okay,
So it's
that's interesting.
that can still be helpful for you.
So, and I've always been told, and I don't know if this is right, but you need that continuous deep sleep. And for, I guess I've never really known the number of hours you needed that for. But from what I'm hearing is in your opinion, that if you get that deep sleep for 3 hours and then go back another 3 hours, that is the equivalent of having it all at one time.
I, I would say that the optimum would be closing your eyes and waking up 8 hours later, but
Right.
that is not always possible, and especially if you have a schedule that really interrupts your ability to be able to do that as when you're playing poker.
Right. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it really is difficult. And I have a routine for that, but I know you don't want to get into that. But it really helped me at no matter what time of the night or day that I am going to sleep. I can teach I've taught my body that it's time to sleep now. So if anybody's interested in that, you can go to the website and throw that in the question mark, and I can give that routine to you individually. But so if anybody wanted to, first of all, are you taking on new patients to evaluate?
I am.
Okay. If anybody would want to get a hold of you, can you put in the comments how to reach you and what or the best way that you want to be reached, I guess? Or
Certainly, I'd be happy.
you can have me do that if I can put those in the comments. Just I don't want to give out information that I have that you don't want out there. So
No, that's fine. The best way to reach me is to text me, and I will
okay.
get back in touch with you right away.
Okay, I will. Then I'll put for people that are interested, they'll be able to go to the comments, and I'll put those in the comments to this podcast. So,
All right, very good.
all right. Well, I really appreciate. I know you're very busy, and I like to keep these to about 30 minutes, and we're at the 26-minute mark. And unless you have, I could go on and on and on and ask you questions, but I know that you're busy and you have other people to help. So I really
Well,
appreciate your time here.
Alan, thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
All right. Hopefully, we can do this again sometime.
I hope we can.
All right, Janice.
All right.
Janice Jackson, I really appreciate you coming on, and I know that I've learned something, and I know my followers will too. So again, I appreciate it. And for anybody that wants more information, go to Run Good Lifestyle, and that's my YouTube channel. And make a comment, and we'll make sure to get back to you. Also, I'd like to thank the sponsor. I forgot to do that. Wentz Insurance Agency for all your insurance needs. 740-653-5535. Okay. And Janet, I'll let you go. Thank you very much.
All
And
right.
I
Thank
really
you again,
appreciate it.
Alan.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye bye.